All right, here I am. So it's Paul from Democast Media. If you're here, thank you for joining in. So this is live. I have just been on a walk, so my nose is going to be a little bit red. I've still got my hobo gloves at the moment, but I need to get moving because my lower back has been playing up, and I'm having issues with movement. But that's okay. I am working on that. So I'm going to be talking about four things. I'm going to be sharing my initial thoughts on Canva's video templates, which I just discovered last Friday, and I think is really cool. I want to share with you a chance meeting that I had with Ray Edwards, which was really fortuitous, and that's spawned a few things for me. One of those being a potential podcast idea, which I am very interested in implementing through this channel. But if you're live here, I'd love to get your thoughts on that. And finally, some things that I've been working on in the background, including joining David Meltzer's program again last Friday. So a lot of things actually happened last Friday. So let's start with Canva. So on Friday, I was working on a project, and I wanted to see if I could find just something special I could do in the introduction. And I came across I used Canva in the past, and I've just started using it again for a different project. And I decided, well, maybe I can find some inspiration here. And it turns out there are now templates that you can. They're video templates, and on Canva you can go in and edit the text that's within the video. So the video itself might be like live action take. One I'm looking at now is like a girl applying makeup, and that's in the background. On the foreground, you've got this little animation that's like uh, kind of like in Camtasia where it does that. I'm going to say the red circle. But here it's purple, and another animation going around saying "sale now," and you can edit text. This is like stuff that you could actually pull some of this off in Camtasia, but there's other stuff that you wouldn't be able to pull off that requires, working in a different software that does more complex animation, and then you have to export and then put it into your Camtasia project. If you want the easy way to do that, then I think this Canva template, video templates is the way to go. It's going to open up different opportunities for you to make creative, make your projects more creative. So yeah, this is canva.com. Go to templates and make sure you go to video to do that. Have different designs that you can use. So you simply go and I'll tell you some of the options you've got here. So if you want to insert something into your YouTube video, it's got templates for that. It's got templates for in-stream video ads, slideshow videos, and yeah, you can scroll through and just update them. When I first saw that, it just blew my mind. I was in so much joy because seeing that Canva had just improved so much, and I could so easily, um, make my project more interesting, and I'm not restricted in my ability to create there. So if you haven't checked it out already, you can sign up for, I think it's like 14 or 30 days on the pro account for Canva. Give it a go. I think you might be pleasantly surprised if you're the type of person that's like me that I'm not really in a position to go and learn um, the Adobe suite. But you still would like to be able to quickly create something that has that sort of that premium, more complex animations that sit outside Camtasia. Then I think this might be an option for you. So yeah, I've got my kids in the background there, so you might hear them, doing what they're doing. So that's Canva. I highly recommend that. So, Ray Edwards. Most of you probably don't know who he is, and that's fine. He's someone that I've looked up to for the longest time, and I managed to jump onto his live stream just out of the blue because I was looking at the YouTube channel, and I saw that his live stream was up, so I went on there. You can look him up on Ray Edwards on YouTube, Ray Edwards TV, and he was just saying, "Look, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I'm gonna let people just call me on Skype. this could turn out really badly. I don't know, it's an experiment, but if you happen to be watching, you can call me on Skype on these details. Now, have you ever had the experience of talking to someone that you've admired for a long time from a distance and you'd love to ask them questions? Have you had that experience? That was my experience 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I jumped on the opportunity, and whilst it was hard to get through for a variety of reasons, I finally got through. And this was 10:40 p.m. Melbourne time, and it was like 5 a.m. his time. So the difference was quite stark there. But I was able to ask him a series of questions because what's been on my mind is how to uh, rapidly improve my personal development with a number of things, improving my ability to do voiceover videos and turn what I'm doing more into a full time business thing. And so I asked him about mentorship. I asked him about, for someone like me who's sort of towards the beginning of the journey, how do I connect with people who are 20 times, 30 times um, larger than I am, and to learn from them because they're busy. Why would they make time for me? So how would you do that? And so what his recommendation was, you know, buy the programs that the people that you admire, and then become their best testimony. So they have to pay attention to you at that point because you're being I guess the word escapes me, but like you're promoting what they do through your results, and so then you can develop a relationship and more of a mentorship um, relationship there. And one of the things he said for himself in terms of masterminds, he's in a mastermind with Pat Flynn, which I said I also admire him, how he became involved in that. And they had admired his work. One of the organizers admired his work, and so they invited him in. And he said, for me, one thing you could consider is joining Pat Flynn's podcasting program and become his best testimonial. Because I was telling Ray Edwards I want to be a full-time voiceover artist, or essentially just a full-time media creator. But I'm choosing voiceover as one way to be able to do that. And he said, "Well, why don't you just start a podcast using Pat Flynn's model, um, and share your journey? Share your journey. Start a podcast on sharing your journey in becoming a voiceover artist." And there have been many podcasts that have started that way. And he mentioned like the startup podcast was one of those. Um, and so I thought, hey, look, that's an interesting thought. I could do that. I'm just conscious of time. There's a number of things I could do, and that was initially what was bothering me. But I just loved the idea of being able to talk with the man and learn from him. So that has spawned this potential idea. What I'm thinking about doing is starting a separate playlist in my channel just dedicated to how do you improve your audio. Now this is important if you're doing screencasts of video. If you're especially doing screencasts, that you're going to be in a position where you're going to be using your voice and you want to get the best possible audio that you can. That's been a bit of a journey for me. Like I started out I'm going to say 3 years ago on this journey, and I did not have what I have here. And even then, this is kind of a makeshift production. But I started out with my Blue Yeti in my living room, not knowing a thing about audio. And I just assumed that if I just got the prettiest uh, microphone, which had all these nice reviews, that I would instantly sound like I'm on the radio. And nothing could be further from the truth. I was picking up all this background noise. There was this buzzing sound that I would often get from the Blue Yeti at times, which ruined some recordings. And I was like, how do I get this thing to work? Why is this so hard? And I've come some ways from that now. And while I'm still learning so much, I think there's a lot that I can offer in terms of audio, just to those who are maybe like a couple of years where I started out. I want to help people who are where I was 2 or 3 years ago, who maybe have all these assumptions and just need a little bit of guidance to get started. And that's what I want to be able to help with in this potential podcast. So I would be doing something, potentially I would be doing this weekly on a Saturday morning, just sharing my thoughts on where I am right now in my journey. and this would help people, particularly who want to improve their audio, because I get questions about that, and I haven't felt qualified to really talk about it. But what I'm taking on at the moment is that I don't have to be a full blown expert in audio or full blown expert in voiceover yet, but I can share what I know now and share what I'm learning. And so you can see what my journey is, and you can still benefit from that. Someone asked me what microphone am I using? I'm using a Rode NT1. Now, that's better than the Blue Yeti that I have been using in the past for voiceover. You need an XLR microphone for commercial grade voiceover. But one of the things I would say for anyone wanting to do like really professional voiceover is that the most important thing is not the microphone, but the recording space. That was a thing that I didn't understand 2 or 3 years ago. And perhaps I was sort of getting the idea, but I just wasn't in this headspace to make that happen. They're the types of things I want to share, and I think I could do that fairly easily um, on this channel. Just a playlist, and I may share that on iTunes and Stitcher to begin with. So I'll just see how that idea pans out. But that's what I'm thinking to do. And so finally, to wrap this up, I can hear my mobile in the background, so I'm not sure who's calling me at this time, but that's fine. Um, what I want to say is that a lot of what's going on in my life right now is being driven by a commitment to personal development. So I've been getting up very early, so between 4 to 4:30 in the morning, and just to work on myself. One of the things that I've been working on is building my uh, network of mentors that I can rely on. I made a list of about 10. One of those was David Meltzer, who I highly recommend his stuff. If personal development is something that is important to you, then I highly recommend his stuff. He was on my list, and I listened to his podcast, and I downloaded his free ebook, Connected to Goodness, I believe. And I got an email from him last Friday saying he's starting a test group, a coaching group, which starts tomorrow US time. And if I wanted to be part of that test group, there's an offer. And I'm like, to be able to have potentially weekly contact with David, so supercharge what I'm doing. Yes, please. So I signed up. I found the money, signed up, and I'm gonna go with this starting tomorrow. And so I'm just highly encouraging you, wherever you are in your journey, to make a list of the people that you admire for a variety of reasons. Understand their story and their journey before you make contact with them. Understand what they've done, who they are, what are they working on, so you can see how maybe what's something that they don't know that maybe you know that you can help them with, at no charge, or join their program and become their best testimonial. By doing that, you're going to start seeing a whole lot of coincidences happening in your life. And that is an indication that you're on the right path here. That's what I'm starting to experience as of like 2 or 3 weeks ago, taking action on some advice I'd received from Ty Lopez from his program to find a mentor and to start reaching out and making those connections, getting out of your comfort zone. That's what I'm starting to find now. That's where I'm at. So anyway, I need to finish now. I'm going to go and today I'm going to be working on a tutorial video for work on about a dashboard. So I need to actually turn that around today really quickly. I'm working on for a client. I'm working on their course about LinkedIn and building your credibility that way. So that's something that's also I've got to be working on, delivered tomorrow. So that's important. And yeah, I need to keep working on my VO demos. So I'm going to be sharing more of my thoughts on an ongoing basis, and to remove that blockage I've had in the past in trying to make things perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect; just need to start. And I've found great value in doing that. So anyway, if you're the one person watching there, thank you so much. And if you're watching this in after the fact, leave your questions and comments below. What are your thoughts on this potential podcast on audio and in voiceover? If I do start that, I want to. I would start that next week. So if you have any questions or requests around that, I'm happy to hear that. Also happy to and fielding your questions for future tutorials. So one of my top views right now is on how do you share your screen through Skype. That one's getting silly amounts of views, but for good reason for what's happening in our world. You want to share things on your screen. Yeah, look, that's it. I'm going to leave it there. Have a wonderful day, guys, and I'll see you next time.